Well, hey, everybody.
Coming to you live from Michigan, Arkansas, and Minneapolis. Nationwide.
Are we all Midwest? Is this a Midwest podcast? Is Arkansas Midwest, or are you just mid?
We're south. We're in the south.
Mid-South.
Yeah, mid-south.
Mid-south.
Not even mid-South. I've always considered the Midwest to have to be in the central time zone, but that gets very little support. I think the time zones should be the reference points.
Mm.
You're just
But
an
then
East
you've
Coaster.
got too much north and south differential. That's a big cultural difference there.
Yeah, right. Like, I wouldn't say that everybody in the central time zone is Midwest, because some people are in the South and some people are just Texas. But just for the Midwest, because if you're moving east, and anyway.
So do you consider Ohio the Midwest?
I would not see by this definition. Yeah.
Where would you put Ohio?
East Coast elites. East Coast elites.
East Coast.
Yeah.
And see, I've always thought of Michigan as the Midwest because everyone says that. But if you think about it for any length of time, we're not that far west, and we're not in the middle.
No.
I don't know where we get that, but.
Well, it's all referential to East Coast, I guess, because that's where the original colonies were. And then it's the consideration, how far is it from them? You know? And it's never going to be.
It's the Midwest.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, frankly, Wyoming is like in the Midwest. You'd think you'd put that in the Midwest if you're doing this, Because you know what? The labels just don't work. We just need a whole no labels movement and just not use any labels for such things. Hey, but here in the Midwest, truly in the Midwest, northern Midwest, it is a perfect summer day today. It's going to be one of those 84 degrees, started 69 and cool in the morning. The winds have blown through and it's comfortable. It's just going to be lovely. Just a day in which you think the planet doesn't want to fight back and kill you.
As opposed to last week, where it clearly did.
Yeah. People were really suffering. I don't know if people in the chat want to tell us how they were suffering under the heat dome.
The heat dome. Yeah, we're just making up new weather things.
Did you get a heat dome? Did you have a dome of heat over Michigan? Was it?
We were in the dome. Yeah, it was 90s and very hot, but it's summer. So
summer.
What are you guys even talking about?
The heat dome?
No idea.
The Mad Max Thunderdome heat dome.
Someone update their weather app so you get terrifying warnings on occasion about look out, grab the children, grab the grannies. It's going to be hot.
Hide your kids, hide your wives.
Much of the country, Rob, set heat records in the same week this past couple of days. So it's been truly historically hot. Here
in Arkansas, it's been 100 or more the last few days. So I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, I see what you're saying.
I hadn't heard like we're in a heat dome.
No, I think it was heat. I think that whole heat dome where it sits over and doesn't move was somewhere east of the Mississippi. We weren't in it either here in the Midwest, but the East Coast elites were really suffering under the.
Very sorry to hear that.
Yeah. Hey, but the big question this week is the debates. Old Uncle Joe and old Crazy Don are going to have a debate. And the big question is, will Trump chicken out? Now, I think he's chickening out. I think he's going to balk and squawk and waddle away.
You don't think he's going to show?
I think he won't show, or he'll walk off. Because
a dramatic walk off. I can see that. Yeah,
it's 3 against 1. This.
He's already sowing the seeds for no show. It's rigged. It's rigged against me before it even happened.
Yeah. How a debate can be rigged against you. There's 2 people. You have a microphone to say what you want. Like, it's rigged. it's rigged against me. It's incredible. Just what a whiner this guy is. Not a winner because we know that he lost. He's a whiner.
And they're also spreading this completely unfounded conspiracy that Biden will be juiced up on some kind of magical elixir of youth that will give him an unfair advantage.
Yeah, I heard, congressional member and former military member and former White House physician say, I'm demanding that Joe Biden have a blood test after the debate to see if he's juiced up. Yeah, because they think he's going to get juiced up before, and that's why he's going to be on some magic illegal elixir that's making him youthful so he can take on Trump. Like this isn't 3-4 days ago. They're setting up that, of course, Joe Biden is actually incapable of putting a sentence together or staying awake. So they're going to juice him up, and they want proof of it. This coming from someone who's a member of Congress, former military member, former presidential physician for both Barack Obama and Donald Trump, saying this nonsense.
Yeah. Okay. So a couple of things. Number one, everything with Donald Trump is projection. Okay.
Sure.
So if Donald Trump is saying this about Joe Biden, if he's suggesting that there's some kind of performance enhancing drug that he might be able to take to help him with the debate, it helps you hit a baseball further, helps you answer questions about the economy better. PEDs are, a big deal. So if he's suggesting this, it means that he is either planning on or has in the past or will be for this event, will himself have taken something.
Beyond something. Oh, I see what you're saying. You're saying he's sending it out there that the only way to make it even is that he too is on some sort of a performance enhancing drug.
No, I'm just saying everything with
everything
him
is projection. Yeah.
I see.
He's like, if he assumes that everyone else breaks the rules like he does, and so he accuses them of it.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's that. The other thing that's happening here is that, it's typical debate pre-spin to lower expectations for your candidate and raise expectations for your opponent.
Do it.
Because political debates are all about how people perform versus the expectation. It's not about who wins the debate. It's not about who has the best arguments. It's about who performs better compared to what the expectations were for them. So in the lead up to the debate, what typically happens is, you'll talk about it's like it's like a professional wrestling, promo where you're like talking up your opponent and talking yourself down so that when you beat him, it makes you look even better. Like that's what happens with debates. You talk about how great they are, this and that and this and that. And so that when you win, they can't meet the expectations that have been set, and you can easily clear the low expectations that have been set for you. Mm-hmm. So, part of Trump's team is doing some of that. Now, what Donald Trump is bad at is normal politics.
Yeah,
so,
sure.
Someone told him to, that he's got to raise the expectations for Biden and lower the expectations for himself.
Yeah.
And he's getting all that mixed up. He just can't seem to do it. Like it's coming out. It's coming out wrong. It's coming out garbled.
There is no way Donald going to spend time saying Joe Biden is a powerful debater and I'm going to be on my heels. There's no way he's pitching low expectations for himself.
I know. But what he should be saying is, listen, Joe Biden he's spent his whole career in Washington, D.C. No one has better grasp of the issues than he does. No one is more articulate than he is. No one can just, come with facts and figures and has an amazing memory like he does.
Yeah.
I'm just a Washington outsider. What do I know? That's what he should be doing, but he can't bring himself to do it. He's trying to do it, and it's coming out garbled because he can't.
No. But look, it doesn't even matter what Donald Trump says about this particular debate going into it. The Republicans have spent 3 years making an argument that Joe Biden is not the functioning president. Truly, I mean, like, their argument is not just that he's bad at it, it's that he's not doing it.
Yeah.
That other people are. He's a puppet. He can't stay awake. He can't speak a sentence. That's why after the State of the Union, they started this whole he's on performance enhancing drugs because he got up there and delivered such a great State of the Union and was bantering with people. And they're like, it's not possible for him to do that. We all know that he's incapable of staying awake and speaking. So their expectations that they have set for this guy are not going to be minimized by Donald Trump's statements. And a lot of the public thinks Joe Biden is too old to play this role. I looked up the other day, I asked the SIRI on my phone how old Ronald Reagan was when he was president. And he was like 70. And we were all concerned that he was too old. Trump is like 79 if he wins election. Biden's gonna be like 82. Like I know people are living a little longer than they used to, but come on here. So people do feel like both these guys are aged because they are. I mean, they are beyond the statistical point that a human male would live in the United States. They've both broken the norms. They're beyond, life expectancy. So if Biden is Joe Biden and is clear and is articulate, and Donald Trump is Donald Trump, and he's rambling and word salad explaining and not being able to hold a thought because he's getting so agitated and is bullying, that's going to play right into the expectations that a lot of voters are going to have. That Biden's competent, Trump is not. Trump is just simply unfit for office. It's just there's no doubt in my mind about it. I mean, he's unfit for that suit in that particular picture, but that's not something we're worried about particularly. But he's just unfit for office. And his ties are so long. Wasn't there a point that we decided that the tie doesn't go below the belt buckle? I mean,
seriously.
Yeah,
I don't know the rules for ties, but that doesn't look right.
Well, if you all are going to watch it and then want to hear commentary after it, Rob and I will be live commentary after the debate.
Should I have a drink or two like I did? What was that?
What event was that?
What was it that I drank a little bit while we were on the air? And by the end, I couldn't pronounce Margaret Thatcher.
It was somehow you turned it into a drinking game. That could happen.
Yeah, it could.
So the debate's going to be like an hour and a half. Is that right? With commercial breaks. Did you know this? They're having commercial breaks in the debate.
Good. They're two old men. They need it. Like they need to
personal time.
Are they going to sit down on stools like in their respective corners during the commercial breaks and have someone squirt water into their mouths like boxers, or
wipe their brows, smack
squirt like
we need.
It's like it's not going to be elixir of youth. It's not water. It's going to be like Metamucil or
for President Biden, it's going to be orange Gatorade because that's his drink of choice. Do you know this? That orange Gatorade is his favorite drink.
Wow.
Like period. Like of all the beverages, not like when you're a little under the weather or you're at a sporting event.
side. Yeah. No, it's like, hey, what would you like? Orange Gatorade.
I mean, you know who's not going to be at the debate? RFK Jr. And
it's almost as if he's not a serious candidate for president of the United States.
For president of these United States of America. Okay, so he apparently says President Biden and Trump do not want me on the debate stage, and CNN illegally agreed to their demand. Yeah. The whining, honestly, from adult males who are wealthy in the country has to stop. RFK Jr., stop whining. It's not illegal for a press outlet to decide who they want to listen to.
Yeah.
There are no laws about debates.
So in the past, the debates have been scheduled and handled and administrated by a council on presidential debates, a committee on presidential debates, the bipartisan blah, 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 blah.
Right.
The Trump campaign made it surprise, made it very difficult on this committee, and so it's basically been disbanded. And now the debates are being organized not by this bipartisan committee, this nonprofit kind of thing. They're now being organized by the news networks in coordination with the campaigns. Now they've set criteria and all of that. So what the Kennedy campaign is saying is that this debate amounts to an illegal campaign contribution to the Biden campaign and the Trump campaign, because the value of the exposure that they're getting and that they are exclusively getting is far beyond the legal limit of, what an organization can donate to a campaign. So that's the argument they're making.
That's creative.
That he's making. Yeah.
Yeah, it's also nonsense. You know who else is not in the presidential debate? You. Any of you?
Well, I'm not running for president. Cornel West, Jill Stein.
But America needs to hear from you about the ideas, even though you're not running. It's ridiculous because RFK has said, I plan to register in all of these states, which he hasn't even necessarily done in all of these. Yeah. He's acting as if his self-declaration of his importance should be recognized by the other people who make these decisions. Here's this is just the kind of stuff that people say, especially RFK. My exclusion by President Biden and Trump from the debate is undemocratic, un-American, and cowardly. Americans want an independent leader who will break the two-party duopoly. Do you know what? They don't. Do you know what is clear in every election over and over, with the exception of very few? People do not want independent candidates. People vote for Democrats or Republicans. Every presidential race has people from other parties. People don't vote for them. This business that Americans don't want a two-party system, if that were true, we wouldn't have a two-party system. People walk into their voting booths every election and choose those candidates and not the others. We rarely have statewide or federal elections that don't have other candidates. So this nonsense that somehow there's something the American people want, if they wanted it, they would vote for it. And they don't. The reason, RFK, you're not in there is because when they do polling, people say they're not going to vote for you. That's why. That's the only reason. If this guy was polling where Biden or Trump are, or even close, he'd be in the debate.
Yeah, he just has to be at, I think, 15% polling in four different polls.
But even then, again, it's not illegal. Like, CNN can just decide it's going to be a debate between two people.
Yes.
And the candidates, like, their teams have nothing to gain from adding a third person who is younger and, different from them. Like it's everything to lose, nothing to gain. And they can just say, no, we don't want to do that. So this idea that it's some sort of...
Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is 70 years old.
Yeah, young guy. He's the young guy. He's the candidate of the youth.
So Kennedy's not going to be at the debate. You know who may be at the debate?
Can you hold that, Rob? Because I want to say... Hang on 1 minute. About RFK, one more point. I just learned this in a news article this morning.
Yep.
He owns ravens, birds of prey. He owns emus.
Okay.
And the emus have been aggressive toward his own wife, who says she has to walk around their property with a shovel to keep the emus away. Now, that's emu and incredible. But do you know who his wife is?
Yeah. The lady from Curb. Yeah.
The wife, the fictional wife of Larry David from Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Yep.
No idea.
That's right.
You didn't know that?
No, I didn't know that. Do you know what I haven't kept up on? RFK Jr.
Presidential campaign. And I think owning Raven, I find the owning ravens more bizarre than the owning emus. Because emus are like...
Don't be fooled by those commercials.
Do you get wool from them? What?
I don't know, but it's like an exotic. It feels like an exotic thing.
Sure does.
Owning ravens. I mean,
yes.
Would you just catch a crow out your back door? Like what? Like what?
Yeah, that says nevermore.
Bizarre.
So bizarre. And that they're aggressive, and his wife has to protect themselves from it. But now she's
he's
fine
like,
with it.
No, I'm keeping the emus.
This is why he's the candidate of the people.
Yeah, because he keeps
totally relatable. Totally relatable. Just like you and me.
We don't want a dog or a first cat. We want a first aggressive emu. It all plays in.
Imagine the Major Biden attacking Secret Service agents. That's been big news. Imagine if it's an emu attacking Secret Service agents.
They'd call that guy from the commercials where they have the emu, Doug and the emu. Look, he's just a quirky cat, is the point.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
His ideas are quirky. He's running for president, if you put the quote back up there in his own press release words, because as president, he wants to end the chronic disease epidemic.
Yeah.
There are a lot of things that a president can do. Ending chronic disease. Honestly, these people are a level of unserious that...
and I don't know if you just saw the RFK camp was part of a case that was brought before the Supreme Court around the pandemic, and the Supreme Court just today or yesterday threw it out. So Trump's hand-picked Supreme Court unanimously was like, get this out of here. This is ridiculous.
Why did they even take it up? Speaking of the Supreme Court, they still haven't ruled on if Donald Trump is immune from prosecution for crimes that he commits while he's president. Yes. Unreasonable, this court.
Yeah.
Completely totally unreasonable. Should have done it in December. But any justice can slow walk the release of a decision, and they won't tell you when they do or how they do. And there's little doubt in a lot of people's minds, including mine, that they're slow walking this decision because they're going to say he can be prosecuted, and why we're not hearing that sooner is just unacceptable.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Not to mention all the gifts that keep coming out that Supreme Court justices are receiving millions of dollars in gifts from political donors, and there's literally nothing anyone can do, apparently. There's no oversight. I thought the three branches of government were supposed to, like, checks and balances, keep an eye on each other, but doesn't seem to be the case.
Apparently not. And I don't see that in the list of things that RFK wants to do. Break the duopoly, heal the divide, restore the middle class, unwind the war machine, end the chronic disease epidemic, but doesn't want to do anything about the justice system and how the Supreme Court seems to function. Well, that's interesting. Glad you're caring about the important things there.
He might Kennedy. Now that they threw out his case. So.
Illegally threw out his case. Let's just keep the whining going.
So RFK will not be at the debate. You know who very well might be at the debate?
Who's this?
Who, Rob?
Sarah Huckabee Sanders.
Oh. As a potential
vice presidential candidate.
Wow.
Former President Donald Trump, reading here from an NBC News article. Former President Donald Trump said Saturday that he knows who his vice president pick will be.
Oh.
And gave a clue about his or her likely debate night plans. Asked by NBC News at a Philadelphia campaign stop whether he has decided on his VP pick, Trump responded, "In my mind, yeah." It's kind of like declassifying a document. In my mind, yeah.
Have you decided? In my mind, I mean, not to pick an older fella, but where else do you decide things? I mean, I know some people are saying like, a lot of thoughts come from your gut, but I think that pretty much where most people would expect you would have decided.
Yeah. Adding that the person will most likely be at Thursday debate against President Joe Biden. They'll be there, he continued. I think we have a lot of people coming. Okay, so a couple of things. One, will he have like the whole cadre of vice presidential?
Yes.
Will he just have all of them
to keep people guessing, like a boardroom episode of The Apprentice? Also, I just want to note here that Donald Trump using the they/them pronoun to describe his vice presidential pick, gender neutral. They'll be there, he said. There,
so woke.
I mean,
little woke.
Very like Donald Trump cares about pronouns, apparently,
and can use them without really having to think that hard about it.
Yeah, he's just natural. He's just a natural. That doesn't even.
So, do you think? What do you think with this? Do you think he's just pontificating? You think he's lying?
I don't think the decision, personally, I don't think the decision has yet been made. I think the guy is all over the place. I think he just, if you even look at the quote there, they likely will be there. They will be there. A lot of people will be there.
Making it up as he's talking. Like he does everything.
Yes. Did you see the clip yesterday that came out when Yabbits? I love Yabbits with the lectern gate reference. Did you see the clip yesterday where he was asked about the cheesesteak in Philadelphia? Apparently, some of his staff got him a cheesesteak, and somebody from Philadelphia asked him about the cheesecake and the cheesesteak. And he's like, "Yeah, it was good. I haven't sampled it yet, but I'm going to do that later."
Best I ever looked at.
Right up there with.
Just lying on the spot.
I know Joan Rivers. I know she voted for me. I mean, I know that. Yeah, she was dead. She didn't vote for you. You didn't eat the cheesesteak. You didn't pick your vice presidential candidate yet. You did lead an insurrection. You did keep documents that were classified against the demands of the government to retrieve them. You did sexually assault a woman and now have to pay her $84 million because of defaming her because of that. And you did commit business crimes in the state of New York. Those things are all true. This guy is just ridiculous. And I hope, and I don't think Biden's going to bring up the criminality because it would just make it look like he used the Justice Department to go after Trump. But I think,
you don't think he's going to call him a felon?
I don't think he is. I think it would be a huge mistake because it would make it look like, see, Joe Biden was just wanting to do this. I think Joe Biden's going to let everyone else do that. I think it's clearly going to be asked of him, and he's going to have a way of saying, I had nothing to do with that. He's going to distance himself and not own the label. That's my guess.
See, I
know
kind of think
the White House, so I hope they're listening carefully.
I think that
the White House down the street where Dan and Shirley live. That's the White House I was talking about.
Yeah, I think that like Scranton Joe gets a little scrappy, and he likes to think of himself as a fighter who's not going to take anything. He likes to mix it up, and he has already called Trump a felon. Um, I I don't think he shies away at all.
I think he sneaks in a little jab, like, "Look, only one of us on here is a convicted felon, and it's not me." Yeah, like a quick little jab.
Yeah. Okay. Well, okay. So we have three options. Quick jab. He takes it on directly. Robb's saying, I'm saying he's going to let the moderators bring it up, and then he's going to rise above it and say, I had nothing to do with it. And what I know is and moves on. I think he's going to play that route, but we'll see.
All right.
So we got that prediction. Fourth option, the debate doesn't happen because Trump chickens out.
Okay. Yeah. Let's go to this. Let's say who says he doesn't, he no shows, who says he quits in the middle, who says he sticks it out. I think he shows up and he does the whole debate.
Okay.
I think he's posturing all of this stuff to, what do we know about Donald Trump? We know he loves to take credit for ratings. Yeah, Alex just said this in the chat. He just wants people to watch the debate. I think like that's a way for him to say, "Oh, look at what I did." And so all of this stuff is just about pumping up the ratings. It's like sweeps time. I say he shows and he does the whole debate.
I think he's not going to show like he didn't show for the primary debates. I think he's going to find some reason, and because he doesn't think it serves him, and then he's going to say we need to renegotiate. I think he's going to use this as a, hey, this is just a negotiating tactic. It's time to renegotiate. They didn't act in goodwill. They're doing all these things, and even though and then we will come on if my theory pans out, then we will come on after the debate that doesn't happen, and then say his team negotiated it.
They agreed to all these terms. Yeah,
doesn't matter. Like he said, in the court filings, when he said to one of his employees, when you sign a contract, they do the work. You don't pay them what was in the contract. That's when you start negotiating. Mm-hmm. That's in court records of a person's testimony about a whole thing about why he paid, how he clearly made it clear that Stormy Daniels was to receive $100,000 that was going to come from him. So that's my theory. He's going to get to the point.
I'm going to go with he's showing up and walking off.
Oh, that's the most dramatic.
Like maybe one or two questions in, he's out of there.
Oh,
close up. He runs out of the Capitol building on January 6th.
As soon as Jake Tapper turns off his microphone for rambling too much.
So does he do it? Is it pre-planned? Is it is it spontaneous? Like he actually gets upset about something, or is it like just dramatic? I'm going to do this to try to.
Great headlines. I think it's pre-planned.
Fascinating.
Trump gives opening statement and walks off. They had like a coin toss. They have this whole thing where they had like a coin toss, and the Biden team won. And instead of the Biden team choosing closing comments, they chose which lectern to be at. Did you see this?
No. This is like, okay, we're gonna defer, take the ball in the second half, and so the other team picks which direction they're gonna go, like which end of the field they're gonna play it.
And for some reason, Joe Biden wanted to be on the same side of the screen, looking at the screen on the right side that he was on last time. And maybe it's because the way his profile is or how comfortable he is turning or something. But there was some way that they won I don't know if it was a coin toss or what they used, rock, paper, scissors, or something like this. And they chose which lectern to be at.
Weird.
Screen, which is so fascinating, right? That like the debate people thought that was more important than the last comment, which I don't think last comments do a whole lot anyway. I think, this is how this thing's going to get sliced up and re-spread, of course. It doesn't matter the order, say these words.
I understand that the the statistics, the the metrics, the whatever they call them now in sports, says what is the analytics say that if you defer to the second half and get the second half kickoff, you're more likely to win the game. I understand that. I hate it. I still hate it when the Cleveland Browns win the toss and don't take the ball. Like, come on. Give me the ball. Let's play. Let's go. That was the football I grew up. I'm like an old man shouting at the clouds now. I don't like this newfangled thing of kicking off and getting the ball in the second half. And I don't like the idea of just like winning the toss and picking your lectern. Come on. And thank you for not saying podium, Doug.
Thank you. Not to belabor the kickoff problem, but why isn't it better to receive the ball in the second half than in the like if you say I'm going to take it in the first, then you don't get it in the second, so you're still going to why is that? Do you think it's psychologically better
no, it has something to do with the typical number of drives that you get per half, that if you defer to the second half, you statistically have a better chance to possess the ball more often during the game. It actually gives you the chance to kind of double up. Like you'll have the ball at the end. Statistically, you'll have the ball at the end of the first half and then get it in the beginning of the second half. And
that's better. Why do you care? Because your team's going to get it only one time either. Why does it matter to you? You think it's just better psychologically for you, the Robb Ryerse of the old school?
Because I just grew up with
give us the
you
ball.
Win the toss, you take the ball.
Yeah. Real attitude.
You want the ball first because you're going to score first.
That's right.
Yeah, you're going to
take the momentum.
Back from them the next time and score again. That's what you're going to do.
Right. That's right.
Hey, you know what? On sports, I live in a hockey state where major hockey is produced out of the state.
I do not.
We have a professional hockey team called the Wild. Somehow last night, Shelley and I were watching local news, a bunch of undecided voters.
Yeah, Game 7.
And at the end of the sports, the last thing said at the end of sports was the Florida team won the NHL hockey tournament or Stanley Cup in the 7th game tonight. And that was it.
Yep.
I mean, professional hockey as the 4th professional sport in America doesn't even rank to top of the sports on local news. It was incredible that whole thing happened and just barely gets a mention.
Maybe it was because the Stanley Cup finals were between Edmonton and Florida.
Wow.
Maybe the Minnesotans were a little salty about it.
The Wild? Seriously? That's the Wild? That's your hockey team?
Yeah. It's a very, very weird.
How does Minnesota
the Timberwolves.
You didn't have you're not like old school hockey like Bruins, Rangers, Red Wings.
Used to be the North Stars and then lost the team. Used to be the North Stars and then lost the team to Dallas. Now it's the Dallas Stars. But same thing with the Lakers. The Minneapolis Lakers basketball team, which makes sense in the land of 10,000 lakes from the city of lakes.
Yabbits was all over that one too.
Became the LA Lakers.
Yeah.
Anyway,
which makes no sense.
Apparently people don't care. I mean, it doesn't even get top news billing. But anyway, congratulations to the hockey team. Maybe the Panthers. No, is that not right? No,
yes, it's Panthers. Yeah.
I thought that was a football team. That's a football team from another state.
Carolina.
So there's a nickname for the same nickname for 2 different teams in 2 different sports?
Yes.
That seems unfortunate. Okay. Hey, gun crisis in America has now, in June of 2024, been declared a public health crisis. In June of 2024.
Yeah.
It's finally been declared a public health crisis. And the Surgeon General who did so said, this is an attempt to move it outside of the typical political argument. I think this is going to put it squarely in the center of the political argument.
Yeah. I appreciate the attempt. It's probably not going to work.
Yeah. What does this do once it's declared by the Surgeon General to be a public health issue? Are there resources that are deployed? Are there studies that are done?
There's currently a law forbidding federal tracking of gun crimes. Federal law prohibits the tracking of gun-related incidents, including crimes, where guns are, how many are used, when they're fired. All that stuff is prohibited by law. Lawmakers could change it any day. So this is part of the reason why gun facts are so hard to get, because people have to cobble them together from states or counties because the federal government is prohibited by its own laws from keeping track of it. And the Surgeon General now saying it moves into the health department, Health and Human Services, they can now start looking into gun-related activities. And that is going to unleash the Second Amendment paranoid people like crazy. That's what I think is going to be the result of this.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's totally the upshot of this, is that it allows for there to be resources and studying of this issue in a way that Congress has made it not possible. Can you, without looking at the screen, can you name the Surgeon General?
Vinci. Bork. No.
Sievert Coop.
Sievert Coop.
Sievert Coop. I got Sievert Coop and I got Jocelyn Elders.
Murphy. What's his first name?
Vivek.
Vivek?
Yeah.
Yes.
Really?
Murphy. Yes. Huh. It's the second most famous Vivek in American politics.
Yeah, today maybe the most famous. But hopefully it's going to be a good thing. Glad to see it happen. Hopefully it can't be reversed or something by anyone.
But real quick, can you name the Secretary of State?
Blinken. Anthony Blinken. Anthony.
Excellent.
Blinken.
I would not have been able to come up with that.
Blinken. But this is just a terrifying quote and fact that gun violence has now become the leading cause of death among kids and teens.
It's horrific.
It was not called a health crisis.
54% of all American adults say they or a relative have experienced a firearm-related incident. Half of Americans?
Yeah.
And 60% of Americans are worried about losing someone they care about to gun violence.
Yeah.
That seems low, to be honest.
Yeah, you think more than 60%
are worried? Yeah.
Those 40%.
I mean, the fact that you have to think twice before sending your kids off to school every day, you have to think twice before going to a movie theater or a church or a concert.
There was a mass shooting in Fordyce, Arkansas a couple of days ago. People were just shopping at the grocery store.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Siri just told me that 40 to 42% of Americans own guns. So think about that. Guns aren't even owned by 60% of the American population. I mean, maybe they children. I should have asked about adults, but 40% are gun owners, and I would imagine if you're a gun owner, you are concerned about gun violence. I would think
you own the gun.
Yes, and if not, you're worried about your own gun being treated, in a way that would be dangerous. So if you go with a great percentage of that, then there's some other percentage of people that don't own guns that are like, no, I don't know, I'm not worried.
And that's what's wild to me, like the unwillingness to do anything, like to implement safe storage laws or red flag laws. Like these are just like very minor inconveniences to a gun owner that are proven to save lives. Yeah. And the gun lobby won't.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if this move by the Surgeon General has any kind of impact.
Yeah.
If there's a way to to bypass a feckless Congress on this.
Yeah, and truly a feckless Congress
I love the word feckless.
For decades.
Mm-hmm.
Congress that have been run by Democrats, when Democrats had control of the Senate and control of the House, did not reverse these laws to track what's happening with guns. The gun lobby is so powerful and so strong within so many people in the Democratic and Republican parties. They just can't seem to do the things that would make total sense about guns. It is remarkable.
Yeah, can't do the bare minimum. We can't even keep track of the stats.
Yeah, just
we don't even want to look at. You don't even look at the guns.
Don't count. It's not the guns, of course. Hey, speaking of crimes, Julian Assange, that old cat finally got himself out of jail. How do you like that? After years in Ecuadorian exile and then years in a maximum security prison in Britain, he finally pleads guilty to the felonies for the crimes he committed, and he's free to go home to Australia. How about that? How long have we been thinking about that guy, Julian Assange?
I go long stretches where I don't think about him. So you passed along this headline. I was like, oh, yeah, that guy.
That guy. Still in the news.
Yeah. I mean, does this open the floodgates for the dude in Russia and what's
Edward
that guy's
Snowden?
name? Edward Snowden, and maybe who's the I can't remember her name. That she's now in a military prison.
Reality winner.
Yeah. I mean, they're like, are we now going to see like a whole floodgate? The floodgates are going to open, and these. Yeah, maybe this is all part of an attempt to make it easier for Chelsea Manning. Yes, thank you, Yavitz. Make it easier for Donald Trump to not get in trouble for his revealing U.S. national secrets.
See, we're super chill about top secret documents, actually.
Yeah.
All you got to do is hide out in Ecuador and then spend a little time in a maximum security prison and then, admit to violating U.S. federal laws and felony actions. And then you're free to go after you've spent the amount of time that the government was seeking for your punishment. Because that's what happened here. It's not as if Assange negotiated and got away with it. They're like, we're going to sentence you to the amount of time that you spent in that prison, and you're going to admit to your guilt. That's what you're going to do. And he did it. So a lot of people, it'd be probably the same for Snowden, could probably get that deal. If he wants to admit and spend time incarcerated, that would match what the justice system demands of him. But if he keeps hiding out in Russia like a Trump surrogate, then that's going to stand here. Anyway, I think it's a big deal. I bet it becomes a big political thing. I bet within hours there's going to be a bunch of people talking about the Biden Justice Department making a deal and yada 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 yada. It's going to we'll be done with Julian Assange.
Julian Assange is very popular with the super progressive folks on Twitter that don't like Joe Biden's, for instance, his they're feeling like he is not followed through on his promises related to student loan debt. They also do not like his the way he's handled the war between Israel and Hamas, and Israel's treatment of the Palestinian people. And so, I think this has the opportunity to, he's kind of throwing him a bone of okay, I can't do anything about those other things, but here's Julian Assange for you.
Oh, interesting.
He's also a big fan of the QAnon right, and the MAGA right.
I was going to say, I feel like Elon Musk is a big fan.
Totally. It cuts an interesting direction. The people that like Julian Assange.
That's right. Well, Last mention, Julian Assange. Congratulations. Thanks for your appearance on the podcast.
Julian Assange.
Leaker. Hey, Rob, we wanted to leave one for you to be able to brag about.
Yep.
Walmart.
Targeted savings event, the greatest event ever. You were couple weeks ago predicting last week, cheering yourself on, and you get to do it again this week. That Walmart is setting the standard for that commerce has to do something about inflation.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
This was it. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So Walmart has a thing. So I live in Northwest Arkansas, where Walmart headquarters is. Walmart has it's kind of an unwritten policy that every product that is sold in a Walmart store, that company has to have an office here in Northwest Arkansas. So we have offices. Like Bentonville is often called Vendorville because it's Walmart vendors all over the place. So every major and every minor consumer product goods company has an office here in Northwest Arkansas. And so you will often see when you're driving towards Walmart headquarters, you will often see like a billboard for a like small random product that you've never heard of before. And that's because the Walmart buyer, the person responsible at Walmart for buying that product and having it in Walmart stores, drives that way to work, and that company knows it.
So it's a billboard for one
person. Yeah, I mean, that's where. So, and I spent time in sales, selling to Walmart vendors various shopper marketing products, and got to know a bit of this world. And one of the things that comes up is that Walmart will often the Walmart buyers will often question vendors and the programs that they're involved in, the money they're spending on marketing, all sorts of variety of things. And what they'll say is, listen, we don't want you to spend money on that. We want you to, what they say is, put it into price, which means instead of spending millions of dollars on marketing, lower the price of the product. Like,
wow.
And
we're going to move the units because we're Walmart. Yeah. We don't need your help in little ad buys.
Yes, exactly. And it's all about it's EDLP is what they call it. It's everyday low pricing. And Walmart puts the squeeze on vendors to lower their pricing constantly. And what we have seen throughout, it started all the supply chain discussion, during the pandemic, and then there was, the oil prices going up, and then, supply and demand issues and everything that was going on. And then the inflation came about. I've said that, listen, the place where inflation will begin to shrink, and I think much of inflation has been caused by corporate greed and the opportunity that corporations have taken to raise prices, that the thing that would cause prices to begin to come down would be the largest retailer in the world, Walmart, telling their suppliers, their vendors, that they need to bring prices down. And that's exactly what we're seeing. And frankly, it's only
Walmart. This is not coming from Walmart. Your suggestion is this is not coming from Walmart making less money on the sale of a product. They're going to maintain their margin, do you think? And the savings is going to come from the supplier?
Yeah. Yes.
Really?
Yes. Yeah, Walmart's not doing this out of the goodness of their corporate heart.
Right. Because if you don't, you lose shelf space.
Well, sure,
I mean, that's the buyer controls how much product and how much shelf space you have. Like there is a 34-year-old dude, like, who that is sitting in an office and 30 miles from my house right now, who's making a decision on how many inches of shelf space this laundry detergent gets. And if you don't, like, if he says, listen, I need this as the price, and you don't give it to him, like, you say, I can't do that, like, and he's like, well, you just lost half your shelf space because I'm going to give that shelf space. And if you lose shelf space in Walmart, like, people are less likely to buy your stuff. Like, I mean,
I hear you. But Walmart
they've got the leverage to do it.
Walmart could provide the largest savings event ever by not taking it from the suppliers. Mm-hmm. They could take it from the, seller profits. You're pretty convinced that Walmart doesn't do that. They're going to take it from the seller. They're going to take it from the provider. Wow. That's brutal. That's because, it does spend a lot of money on advertising. Walmart.
Yeah.
See a lot of Walmart commercials. Maybe they should take some of that.
Yeah. And
all that money to those charities.
But what you'll see Walmart commercials that feature products within their stores. And so who pays for that commercial?
Oh, the product.
The product featured within the commercial. Yeah. They got
to figure it out.
So, you see an end cap, you walk into and I'm sure it's the same way in Target, but you see an end cap in Walmart where, like, there's product featured at the end of the aisle. They paid for that too. Like, yeah.
But Walmart isn't the only ones lowering prices a little bit. There's grocery stores like Aldi is bringing some prices down. Like, you're starting to see not just inflation rate going down, but actual prices dropping for consumers, which is encouraging.
All of that is driven by Walmart, Dan.
I'm sure RFK Jr. will be saying this afternoon, this is an illegal contribution to the Biden campaign by Walmart by bringing prices down, because that makes Americans feel better about their daily costs. I'm sure the whiner that is Donald Trump or RFK Jr. will find a way to cry baby about this too, because you know who the world's not fair for? Rich white men like RFK Jr. and Donald Trump. Can't get a break. I mean, it's really rigged against them. It's really set up. Hey, you know what else it seems is going to be in the sights of the law enforcement? Not just Julian Assange, not just apparently CNN, if you listen to RFK Jr. Old Matt Gaetz. Old Matthew. Apparently the House Ethics Committee alleges that Matt Gaetz is guilty of more than sex and drug trafficking. Incredible. The very thing that he tried to bring an end to by running out old Kevin McCarthy is now facing him down. He is. So I guess here's another one of our little guesses. Does Matt Gaetz make it out of this Congress, or will he be removed from office before the end of this Congress? Will he choose to resign and go take a job for a lobbying group, or maybe for an online, sex exchange company before the end of this Congress?
I don't think he's going anywhere.
Yeah, I have no hope that any real consequences will come to him.
Well, when Gates's Venmo history seems to corroborate the allegations brought by a 17-year-old for the time when he was drug trafficking, I think it's quite possible that the way Matt Gaetz protects his reputation is to leave Congress. I think that's a real option. People like Matt Gaetz have a much more lucrative life in so many ways awaiting them, where the scrutiny is not going to be this high. And when the House Ethics Committee, run by Republicans, has set their sights on you,
you are revenge of Kevin McCarthy.
It is the revenge of Kevin McCarthy. And the macabre nature of these unbelievably unethical and unprofessional Republican Party of our day is that they both end up falling by the same cruelty that has been brought to one of them. Both Kevin McCarthy goes down and Matt Gaetz. So that's my guess, is that before the end of the session, Matt Gaetz has stepped away, and there has to be a special election, and Republicans are down yet another vote. And he'll do it at a point where, there's no more important votes coming, that they're not going to push any more legislation through and all that kind of stuff. So that's my guess.
I hope you're right.
Because he's in trouble.
I would love to not see that smug face anymore.
Well, then stay away from the Fox News networks and the USA Network or whatever else, QAnon or Onan or whatever, because, that's what the guy's got to look forward to, and probably some lobbying job and something else. So many of these people, honestly, why they stay in public service where they're paid a fraction of what their reputation and their relationships would bring them elsewhere, is usually a real sign of their commitment to important things. That's why people stay in those jobs. I know that a lot of people think that they're the wealthy ones and the powerful ones, but it's also a big sacrifice. Matt Gaetz is not doing any good for anyone. He doesn't do anything when it comes to being a congressperson. So why he would stay around, I think he's on his way out. So that'll be another prediction that we can
see who wins that one.
Having not be true. All right, so we have a lot of predictions. We should probably start a prediction counter after.
That's right.
But some of these will be answered by Thursday. The debate is Thursday. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Thursday. All right, so tune in here after the debate, wherever you're watching this. You can watch Rob and I, and Dan, you're welcome as well if you don't have anything better to do. Banter about the debate.
We're not going to live. We're not going to live stream the debate as we did the January 6th hearing, we've done some other event that I got drunk during. We're gonna have post debate commentary.
Yeah, because we really want the look. I would not be able to restrain myself from over talking them. Like, their mics would be turned off, mine wouldn't. It would just, and I'd have to be like, "What did he just say?" Because
can we rewind it? Because Doug was ranting.
For the good of all, we're not going to do that. All right, but after the debate, the second it is done, right here on YouTube or wherever else you're watching this, but watch it on YouTube.
All right, everybody. I got to run. I got to take a kid to driver's training class, which is
real rite of passage.
Yeah.
Congratulations. See ya.
But we'll see everybody next week or Thursday.
Bye now.
Yeah. All right. Bye.
Yeah.